Mint Dice is proud to bring you the third part of the CryptoSmarts series, a 100% unbiased non-affiliate paid article set that will focus on relatively simple ways you can boost your privacy, take power away from overbearing governments and corporations while also doing relative good for society all at the same time with minimal effort. Rest assured that anything suggested here is solely for your own benefit. The majority of us spend a lot of time on the web. And that amount is growing every single day as our world becomes more interconnected to the internet. The primary proxy to the web is with web browsers. Given that a huge amount of one's life will be spent on web browsers, it's important to get it right. This means choosing the right web browser, getting the right add-ons, and even ensuring that you have the right search engine to go along with everything. I would argue that not only is this good for your own personal privacy and security, but that it will also end up being a better user experience for you with less ad tracking, less advertising in general, and an overall cleaner web browsing experience. So without further ado, let's get into it. Secure web browsers for desktops. When it comes to desktop browsers, the primary quality options are fairly simple. Pick either Firefox or Tor. For most intents and purposes, Firefox will be the recommended browser that Mint Dice would suggest for its users. Firefox is the bread and butter option and the far superior option to the more classic browser options used by most people, which are commonly found to be Google Chrome, Apple's Safari, or Microsoft's Edge. Firefox is fully open-sourced and managed by the nonprofit Mozilla Corporation. Its modularity and high technical capacity makes it a fan favorite among most privacy tech enthusiasts. Speaking of its options, there are many switches that you can flip on to increase to make Firefox more or less private depending on your needs or tastes. We'll get to this later. The other web browser that we mentioned earlier is Tor. Tor, otherwise known as the Onion Router, is an open-source project that was first state-sponsored by the US Navy. Tor's goal is to provide a nearly anonymous web browsing experience. While that sounds great in theory, it does come with many substantial costs. Most notably, Tor is a much slower alternative to Firefox or other ordinary browsers. Secondly, while it is far more anonymous, it is less secure, since all data is transmitted through exit nodes that can read your internet activity if they are malicious actors. As we've mentioned in the past, at the higher end of the equation for most applications, you are frequently going to experience trade-offs. One platform is not necessarily better than the other, they each have their own pros and cons to deal with. In the case of web browsers, it will be anonymity or security. For journalists in strict countries or others in need of extreme privacy, Tor becomes the obvious answer. But for most common internet users and cryptocurrency enthusiasts, Firefox will do just fine. And there are many options you can and should deploy to make your Firefox web browsing experience superior. We'll get to shortly after discussing a few other platforms. Secure web browsers for mobile devices. As far as Android and iOS devices are concerned, Firefox is still a completely viable option for both of these mobile devices, no different than for desktops. On the same token with Tor, there is Tor browser available for Android and Onion browser available for iOS. There are a couple of other options to consider, however. For Android users, if you have a preference for Chromium technology, what Google Chrome's browser is based off of, look no further than the web browser app called Bromite. It comes pre-installed with many privacy enhancements to simply make it an easy alternative to Google Chrome. And for iOS users, DuckDuckGo has created a web browser of its own called DuckDuckGo Privacy Browser. Similar to Bromite, it is another mobile web browser with built-in privacy and security features for your own convenience. If you'd prefer something to work straight out of the box, so to speak, Bromite or Duck. You can read full post on CryptoFans News, link available in text below.